and welcome to rounds 7 and 8 of the Lubricant Consultancy Golf GTI Championship, where today drivers will tackle the mini Nürburgring that is Cadwell Park. Paul, aside from the racing factor, what is it about this championship that makes it so great?
I think the thing about the Super Pros is, because obviously you're here for a whole day when you're racing, you're only on track for maybe 50 minutes for the whole day, and it's the camaraderie and the atmosphere that these guys have built in the pit lane. And you're here with your mates, you can have a cup of tea and a bacon roll in the morning. You've got guys here to help you. There's so many times, like last outing I was at Alton Park, I damaged my suspension, and literally the guys that are competing against me, they were the first to come and help me to fix the car. And I think that's the great thing about this series. A lot of friendship, a lot of trust, and that shows when we're out there driving as well, because the guy that you've spanned next to in the morning is the guy you're racing against in the afternoon, and you give each other room. And it's a fantastic series.
It's really competitive. It's it's everything so equal from where it's so controlled, and we've had a good couple of battles really, and that's what makes it entertaining.
So aside from the racing, what is it about this championship that you like?
Well, just the ice creams really. I've got 2 on the go. Just the whole atmosphere really. Just coming, especially watching somebody we know Mark obviously, so we come to cheer him on, and just the atmosphere is really good and it's really exciting.
What do you like about the racing? Ice cream, I think, is the answer to that. Why do you like coming to see the VWs?
Because they're awesome.
So far today then, how have you found it?
It's been great, a really good atmosphere, and it's really enjoyable, really nice day. Weather's made it much better.
It's a good day out. I mean, obviously we come along with the family and friends and stuff. They all enjoy it just as much, and also allows them to feel like they're a part of it with me as well. So I got a lot of people that definitely do a lot for me, and it's a thanks for them that get me here as well.
Surprised it's very, very busy. I mean, you get up in the morning and you've got to get your car scrutineered, and you've got to put fuel in it, you've got to weigh it, you've got to get the tyres right, and out you go, and then you come back again, and before you know it, you're out to the next race again. So it's surprisingly quite busy. A weekenders are better, where you get one race Saturday and one race Sunday, because you get a chance to go out and see other races, and so you can see what they're doing. So it's a busy weekend when you have 2 races in one go, and it's challenging, but it's great fun.
Well, the convivial atmosphere from the paddock extends to the grandstand as we get ready for the first race of the weekend from the Mark II Golf GTI Championship, with Jamie Martin in pole position. Alongside the front row of the grid is Kevin Glover, then row 2, Darren Drury and Peter Milne. A packed field of cars ready to take to the twists and turns of the Lincolnshire countryside at Cadwell Park. In car with Kevin Glover, the red lights go on now. Out they go. Who's got the jump for the line? It's a good getaway from Glover, very smooth, but Jamie Martin from pole position, who comes into this weekend with a 100% record for the season so far, squeezes into the lead in the all-black number 17 car. Then it's Kevin Glover who's being pushed to the outside. We're on in car with Kevin as we climb up through Coppice for the first time and into Charlie's, and that's very, very tight. But everybody cleanly through the first corner, which is always important. They head out to Charlie's and onto the park straight. It's Jamie Martin who leads it from Kevin Glover, and then it is number 7 car, Darren Drury, that's come up into 3rd. As well, does the Glover fit to the inside line into Park Corner? No, Jamie Martin covers the line absolutely perfectly. You can move a couple of inches away from the left-hand side of the circuit. You can leave less than the cars, but the inside, and that's exactly what Jamie Martin did as they then come out of Chris Curve and into the gooseneck for the first time. Side by side, a little bit further back down the field, that's Jake Johnson in the number 11 car, also Matt Weller in the bright red machine. As running wide off goes Darren Drury, bounces and bores across cross and comes back and makes contact with Peter Milne, and they very nearly have an enormous accident. And Milne, of course, a couple of years ago was involved in probably the biggest crash the championship's ever seen here at Cadwell Park, and he had a lucky escape there to avoid the Armco barriers. What it does do, though, is enable the leading Joe to now brake well clear at the head of the back. So it is Jamie Martin from Kevin Glover. Then we've got this wait for the rest of the field to come through. There's Matt Weller, he's up into 6th on the tail of Darren Bedford. And it's Mark Reynolds then who's in 3rd. He's got Josh Johnson right on his tail, number 12 car. There's the bright blue car of Martin Walsh. And there is the battle for Class 1 honours with Rachel Pearson just leading Alex Harris, Paul Cowland, number 50 car. Another driver in the classes running very wide out of the hairpin into barn. It's Martin Walsh, he's going to lose a place. That's Dan Gibbs who slides to the inside. So it's all happening here in the opening stage of the race at Cadwell Park as they sprint through to complete lap. And Martin Walsh looking to make that move on Gibbs. Can he do it into Coppice? That's what he's going to be looking to do. So we have a replay then of the moment for Darren Drury. He bounces across, loses control and just darts across right in the face of Peter Mill. And how Drury kept the car out of the Onco barrier, I'll never know. Both of them should be able to recover back into the race. But a scary moment for the pair of them. Well, this is the fight then for 3rd position with Mark Reynolds and Josh Johnson. Johnson's going to look for the move, the inside line into Coppice, and Johnson takes 3rd position. He squeezes past. Maybe a little bit of contact there as well with Reynolds, but the hard-charging Josh Johnson then climbs into 3rd and sets off in pursuit of the leading duo as he powers onto the park straight. And also Darren Bedford is looking fairly feisty there. He is the number 6 car, that's the black and white car. Meantime, back to the fight for the leaders as around park we go again. In car with Kevin Glover in pursuit of Jamie Martin through Chris Kerr. Just a little bit of understeer maybe from Glover as they then arrive into the gooseneck. And you can see they are somewhere up the road already from this fight for 3rd position. Although Mark Reynolds is not letting Josh Johnson escape. He's got Darren Bedford and Matt Weller with the company. There is Bedford riding the curbs into the gooseneck. Such a spectacular corner that. As already the leaders well out of Mansfield and accelerating on towards the mountain. So through the left-hander, then around the right and up over the crest, and Jamie Martin. Well, this is probably one of the hardest times he's been pushed already this year. He's had a 100% win record, and most of those have been fairly dominant. Whereas today, he is being chased all the while by Kevin Glover as we've got a replay further back. And spinning around there, that's Chris Skip. So he points the wrong direction on the exit of park. He should rejoin that. Unfortunately, out of the race there is Jake Johnson. Can't quite see where that is, but it's in a vulnerable position. And so the safety car comes out. That's going to bunch the field up. Now that is brilliant news for Josh Johnson, as he now rides in right behind Kevin Glover and the race leader Jamie Martin. The field all bunching up as the car of Johnson fires itself up, recovers its own steam. There it was on the entrance to the gooseneck, and yes, you do not want a stationary car there. So Johnson rejoins. I suspect probably only to go as far as the pits. The safety car therefore can pull back in, and we go racing once more with Jamie Martin trying to pull away then from Kevin Glover and Josh Johnson as they accelerate along the start and finish straight and into Coppice, climbing up the hill through that long left-hander. Good battle still for Class 1. It's being led there by the bright yellow car, Rachel Pearson. Second place car in the class is following her. That's the white car of Alex Bomber Harris. It's Bomber who's been doing most of the winning this year. Down to Charlie's onto the park straight, and then come the race leaders. I just wonder if Jamie Martin's got a problem there, because we see in the cockpit, he's looking down into the cockpit and closing right up onto his tail. There is Glover. So they hit the braking zone for Park, and Kevin Glover closed right up on Jamie Martin. And Jamie, well, he's normally a demon on these restarts and can break away from the rest of the pack. Kevin Glover is staying right with him. Well, Jamie Martin is fully committed, but again you see him just glance down into the cockpit as they come into the gooseneck, where he loses a lot of ground to Glover under braking. He then pulls that out through the corner, down the hill into Mansfield, and around left hand they go. And Martin again very, very slow coming out of Mansfield. It's not quite enough for Glover to pounce, as there's plenty of dicing going on. Field there is Paul Cowland, and he has got Tim Cox right onto his tail. A pair of them, along with the yellow car ahead of that queue, Mark Holler, fighting for 3rd place in Class 1. As around the hairpin, having come out full bent, and Jamie Martin's got a real problem. He pulls off the racing line, and Kevin Glover tries to get through as they head around Barn. Martin then fights his way back past him, and that's very unusual for Martin. He's obviously got a problem, but it seems to be peripatetic, because he suddenly recovers. He's now fighting tooth and nail to maintain the lead of the race, but Kevin Glover's got the run alongside the finish straight, and around the outside he looks into Coppice, and Kevin Glover then goes through into the lead, bouncing on 3 wheels, and Jamie Martin pushed into 2nd position. Now I think Martin must have a problem. He fights the wheel through Charlie's. Tyres squealing, sets off in pursuit along the park straight. It's now moving up to third in Class 1. Paul Cowland, Class 1 of course for the 8 valve cars, and then Class 2, that's the 16 valve cars that we see fighting out for overall race victory. It's now to Mansfield, accelerating to the mountain, in car with Jamie Martin. Down through the gears, he's not changing gear. I wonder if that's a gearbox issue for Jamie Martin, because he didn't downshift into the mountain. He carries a lot of speed out of the mountain, and then squeezing through is Josh Johnson. Johnson catches Martin by surprise. He's going to try and take the lead away from Kevin Glover, and he does that. So Josh Johnson, very, very brave driving, suddenly finds himself in the lead of the race. Jamie Martin shoved to third, but then Johnson runs a little bit wide through the hairpin. That gives Glover his opportunity to try and fight back through. And Martin's definitely got a gear selection issue. Doesn't seem to be able to find the lower gears as we ride in car with him there. And that's enabling the leaders to pull away from him. Jamie Martin doing a fantastic job, therefore, to stay in touch with these leaders with a slightly crippled car. As we see, challenge now from Kevin Glover to the inside of Josh Johnson. Back into the lead goes Glover. In car, we savour the moment with him. And that is very, very brave driving. Coppice is a completely blind entry as we take a look at the replay for the Class 1 battle. The lead, Rachel Pearson, a local marshal here at Cadwell Park, defends from Bomber Harris, and Rachel has never won a race before, or her class in a race. As around barn we come then, accelerating out, and we're into the late stage of the race. The checker flag is ready, and it's going to be Kevin Glover who takes a fantastic victory from Josh Johnson, and then Jamie Martin, a fighting drive for third, and Kevin has got every right to be delighted with that. But what about Class 1? Here they come then, out to the final corner. It's going to be victory for Rachel Pearson, her first ever win. Alex Bomber Harris follows her across the line in second, and third in the class is going to go the way of Paul Cowland. Fantastic racing throughout the field. Let's take a look then at the final results, with victory for Kevin Glover, second place for Josh Johnson, and Jamie Martin completes the podium with Mark Rails and Andy Warnes rounding out the top 5. It was victory for Rachel Pearson in Class 1 from Alex Harris and Paul Cowland, who saw off the challenge from Mark Hodder and Tim Cox. So very happy drivers then appearing on the rostrum, and a very warm round of applause. I think the entire paddock community will have thoroughly enjoyed that race, and after some hard on track action, time to celebrate with the champagne.
Rachel, that was a class win on your home circuit. How does it feel?
Great. Yeah, first win, and yeah, so knackered, but yeah.
And how was it, the battle between you and Alex?
Really hard.
So Kevin, you managed to push Jamie Martin right back. Fantastic, brilliant achievement.
Yeah, he's the only person that's won this year, so it's nice to be the second person to finish a race in first place. It did get difficult, there's a lot of argy-bargy, but I just had to keep him in mirrors and hope for God that the last lap board came up, and that was it. But it was a very good race and kept me honest.
A fantastic race for Kevin Glover there, but can Jamie Martin reclaim his dominance this season? We'll find out in the next race.